There's an old story I want to tell you before we begin. A woman once walked into a small temple, exhausted. She had been caring for everyone, her aging mother, her children, her difficult boss, a friend going through a divorce, a neighbor who only called when she needed something. The woman gave and gave and gave, until one morning she couldn't get out of bed. She dragged herself to this little temple, hoping for some grand spiritual answer, some secret teaching that would fix her. And the old teacher there, a tiny woman with kind eyes, listened to her for a long time. Then she said something the woman never forgot. She said, "Dear one, you have been feeding everyone at the table while you yourself are starving underneath it. Come, sit down, eat." And the woman wept, because no one had ever told her she was allowed to. If that story stirs something in you, if some quiet place inside you just whispered, "Yes, that's me," then please stay with me. Because today we're going to talk about something tender, something you've probably been needing to hear for a very long time. We're going to talk about why you are so endlessly kind to everyone except the one person who lives inside your own skin. I want you to take a breath with me, if you can. Just one, a soft one. In and out. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here. You know, it's a strange thing about being human. We can be so generous with others. We can forgive our friends for things we would never forgive ourselves for. We can comfort a stranger in tears at the grocery store, but when we cry alone in our car, we tell ourselves to get it together. We can stay up all night listening to someone's heartbreak and then turn around and shame ourselves for being tired the next day. Have you noticed this? There's a voice inside many of us that speaks to us in a way we would never ever speak to someone we love. It says things like, "You should have known better," "You're too much," "You're not enough," "Why are you still struggling with this?" "Other people have it worse, get over it," "Stop being so sensitive." And we have lived with that voice for so long, we don't even notice it anymore. We think it's just the truth. We think it's just who we are, but it isn't. It really, truly isn't. Pema Chödrön once said something so simple, and yet it can change a whole life if we let it in. She said that the most fundamental aggression to ourselves, the most fundamental harm we can do, is to remain ignorant by not having the courage and the respect to look at ourselves honestly and gently. Honestly and gently, not honestly and harshly, not honestly and cruelly, not with that inner drill sergeant who's been running the show for decades. Honestly and gently. And I think for so many of us, that second word is the one we forgot, or maybe we never learned it at all. Let me say something that might land a little softly, a little strangely. Are you ready? The kindness you give to everyone else is not a virtue if it's leaving you broken. I know, that's a hard one, because we've been taught the opposite, haven't we? We've been taught that the good people are the ones who give until they have nothing left. The good mothers, the good partners, the good employees, the good friends, the good daughters, the good sons. But here's the quiet truth Pema offers us. A kindness that excludes yourself is not really kindness. It's something else wearing kindness's clothing. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's the hope that if we just give enough, we'll finally feel worthy. Sometimes it's the old belief that we have to earn our place at the table. And the radical thing she invites us to do is to bring ourselves into the circle of our own compassion, not instead of others, not at the expense of others, but alongside them. You finally included. I want to share another little story with you, a real one, from my own life. I once had a moment where I was sitting on my kitchen floor. Late at night, I had been kind all day. I had been patient with someone who was unkind to me. I had stayed late to help. I had made dinner when I was too tired to eat. And I sat down on that floor with my back against the cabinet, and I just cried. And I noticed something. The very first thought that came into my head was not, "Oh, sweetheart, you're so tired." It wasn't, "This is hard, let me be gentle with you." The first thought was, "What is wrong with you? Pull it together." And I just sat with that. And I realized I had spent the entire day pouring out tenderness to people who didn't always notice. And the moment I needed some of that tenderness for myself, I had none left to give, because I had never practiced giving any to me. Maybe you know that floor, maybe you've sat on it too. If you have, I want you to know something. You're not broken, you're not selfish, you're not weak. You're just a person who was taught somewhere along the way that your suffering didn't count the same way other people's suffering counts. But it does. Oh, it does. Pema talks often about welcoming the unwelcome. And one of the most unwelcome things for many of us is our own pain, our own tiredness, our own messy feelings. We try to push them away, to fix them, to be productive instead of feeling them. We treat our own emotions like an inconvenient guest we wish would just leave already. But what if, and just stay with me here, what if the practice of self-compassion is simply this: letting yourself be the guest you've been waiting to welcome, letting yourself sit down at your own table, letting yourself be tired without apology, letting yourself be sad without explanation, letting yourself be a beginner over and over again without shame. There's a beautiful image Pema often returns to. She says, "You are the sky. Everything else, your feelings, your thoughts, your bad days, your good days, your failures, your fears, all of it is just the weather. The weather moves through. The sky remains." And when we forget this, we identify with the storm. We think we are the anxiety, we are the sadness, we are the mistake we made. But underneath all that weather, there is something vast in you, something spacious, something that has been patiently waiting for you to come home to it. And you come home to it through gentleness, not through fixing yourself, not through becoming a better version of yourself, just through being kind to the one who's here, right now, reading this, listening to this, breathing you. So let's talk about how, because I never want to leave you with just pretty words. Pema always brings it back to practice, to the actual living of it. So here are a few small, doable things you can try. Not all at once, just one. Just the one that calls to you. The first one is this: when you notice you are speaking harshly to yourself in your own mind, pause. Just for a moment. And ask yourself one question. Would I say this to someone I love? That's it. You don't have to fix the thought. You don't have to argue with it. Just notice. Would I say this to my best friend? To my child? To someone who came to me in tears? If the answer is no, that's information. That's the beginning of something tender. You're starting to see the voice instead of being the voice. And that little bit of seeing, it's the seed of everything. The second practice: once a day, just once, do something small for yourself with the same care you would give a dear friend. Pour your tea slowly. Sit down to drink it. Make the bed softly. Put your hand on your own heart for a moment before you sleep. Speak to yourself in your own mind the way you would speak to someone you adore. Sweetheart, you did your best today. That's enough. This might feel strange at first. It might even feel embarrassing. That's okay. That's just the weather. Do it anyway. The third practice, and this one is harder but so freeing, is to let yourself begin again. Pema talks about this all the time. We mess up. We snap at someone. We eat the thing. We skip the walk. We say yes when we meant no. We forget our intentions for the 100th time. And the old way is to pile on shame. See, I knew it. I can't do anything right. The new way is just to begin again, gently, without making it a big drama, without quitting on yourself. You begin again, and again, and again, with kindness. That is the path. There is no other path. And the fourth, if you want one more, is simply this. When a difficult feeling arises, instead of running, instead of fixing, try just sitting with it for 1 minute, 60 seconds. Place your hand somewhere on your body, your chest, your belly, your cheek, and say, inside yourself, I'm here. I'm here with you. This is hard, and I'm not going to leave. That is the kindness you have been waiting for your whole life. And the wild thing is, it was always available. You were always the one who could give it to yourself. I want to close with something soft. If you have been kind to everyone except yourself, I don't want you to feel ashamed of that. Please don't. You learned it somewhere. You learned it because it kept you safe, or loved, or accepted at some point in your life. It made sense once, but you don't have to keep paying that price forever. You are allowed to be one of the people you take care of. You are allowed to be on your own list. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to disappoint someone in order to keep faith with yourself. You are allowed to be a beginner at all of this. You are allowed to be tender with the tired, sincere person reading these words right now. That person is so worthy of your kindness. The weather will keep moving through. The hard days will still come. The old voice will still pipe up sometimes. But underneath it all, the sky is still there. You are still there. And you can always, always begin again. So if any part of this touched you today, if it landed in some quiet place that needed it, I'd love for you to stay close to this little corner of the world. Subscribe if it feels right. Leave a soft word in the comments, even just a single one, so I know you were here. And share this with someone you love, including perhaps the one inside your own skin. Take a breath with me one more time. In and out. You are not alone. You never were. And the kindness you've been giving away your whole life, a little of it is allowed to come home now. Welcome home, dear one. Welcome home.